This is another tutorial from MME Chicago Design Studios. Today we're going to look at creating newsletter campaign in MailChimp. First thing we're going to do is go to mailchimp.com and click the login button in the upper right hand corner. We're going to put in our username and password. We'll be redirected to a security screen where we'll click I'll do this later. We can see there's a strike through on the text import your list because we've already done that. Start building your audience. We've done that as well. The next thing to do is send a campaign. Now we can send a campaign by clicking on this link here to create our first campaign. But for subsequent campaigns, we'll use the campaign tab on the left hand side. Let's click on the campaign tab or campaign link on the left sidebar. From here, we'll be directed to the campaign window. We'll notice we have a session update campaign already created, and we have something called untitled. Let's go ahead and delete our untitled campaign here by selecting the checkbox and then left clicking or using your index finger, select delete. Type delete to confirm, and it's successfully deleted. That's how you delete a campaign. Let's go up in the upper right hand corner here and create a new campaign. Now a campaign is nothing more than an email. They say campaign because in MailChimp we're emailing at least more than 25 people. The rules of the internet are clear. You want to separate transactional emails, which are your everyday business emails, and your marketing emails or communications emails. Since MailChimp is going to be used to communicate with the parishioners or the visitors and a variety of other subgroups that attend Westminster Presbyterian Church, we want to make sure that we're creating campaigns that are specific to audiences. As part of the campaign creation process, we must consider who our audience is. Let's create a campaign and see what that might look like. Now we have the ability to create a regular old campaign, send a lovely HTML email along with plain text and alternative versions. What does that mean? That means that you can include images, links, and other HTML markup language in order to make your newsletters more lovely, more compatible with mobile devices, more interactive. Perhaps you wanted to send an email, a Valentine's email, for people to sign up to a website. A plain old text campaign won't allow you to format a link. If you can't create a link back to the web page where people can sign up for the Valentine's Day dinner or Valentine's Day meeting or a special service, then you're probably not going to have a large group of people signing up online. What you'll need to do is create a regular old HTML campaign. Then there are A/B split campaigns, sent to two groups to determine the best subject line for name, time, date, send campaign. The last two, an RSS driven campaign, sends content from an RSS feed from a website or a blog, for instance, which we might do in the future with the pastor's blog. For right now, we're either going to send a plain text, that is, just text, a letter, for instance, of thank you, or text, images, and links. For this campaign, we'll use text, images, and links, the regular old campaign. Now here's where we can choose several different options. To which list shall we send this? Well, we only currently have one list, called the newsletter mailing list, in which we have 300 recipients or subscribers. Now we can send to the entire list by selecting this radio checkbox, We can send to a saved segment and create one, create a saved segment, or we can just send to a new segment. When we send to a new segment, we have a variety of conditions. You see, we have to determine exactly who we're going to send this to. We can select from a wide variety of information. Looking closely, you'll notice there's a white background with black text called subscriber data, and underneath that a variety of subheadings: campaign activity, conversation activity, date added, email client, info changed, language, location, member rating, sign-up source. We can select from a variety of data to populate our new campaign. We can select from a list of subcategories under subscriber data or merged fields. Merged fields is usually where we're going to do most of our work, because we're going to be sending out to groups that we've created already. We have a group called volunteers, which we can select from, or session, or general. For this email, we're going to send an email out to session. These are our elders, and we're going to refresh the count. It says there are 15 recipients in this segment. Now, in the last tutorial, we talked about how to create groups and assign specific subscribers to groups. That way, we can select during the campaign a new segment and select our specific group, and in there, we'll only send an email to those recipients. Let's take a look at which recipients will be receiving this email. Just a quick look over shows me that these are the people that are on session. Once we're done selecting who we're going to mail this to, we'll come down to the lower right hand corner and click the next button. Now there's a wide variety of information on the next page, so let's take each section. The first is campaign info. We can name our campaign. For instance, newsletter, session update June 2014. When they receive this, this is for internet use only. That means that this is only for us to see on the administrative side when we're building campaigns. But the subject line is what all of the recipients in this campaign will receive in their email in the subject box. We could say session update or session notes from June 15th meeting. Where's it coming from? And from what email will it come from? Now, there are some paid options that we're not going to be using. For instance, manage replies from my subscribers. If a subscriber should reply to my message and thank me or ask more questions, MailChimp can manage those for us. When enabled, this will generate a special reply to address for your campaign. We'll filter out of Office replies, then thread conversations into your subscriber profiles and display them in reports. What that means is they're going to take all the data, if we should so choose as a church to pay for it, and they will consolidate the reply data for each of those clients in the notes section all by themselves. Personalize the to field. What does that mean? Let's read that. Include the recipient's name in the message using merge tags to make it more personal and help avoid spam filters. For example, first name, last name will show to Bob Smith in the email instead of bob.com. This is more personal and may help avoid spam filters. This is something you can leave. What will happen is, if we remember our conversation on creating subscribers, we gave a first name and a last name to each subscriber. What we can do, if we would like to, is we can add the first name and the last name to the email header. So it will look something like this. Bob Smith, bob at example.com. That way, when the spam filters read Bob Smith, they know you're sending it to someone you know. We'll personalize those with the first and last name of each subscriber. Let's look at tracking. Tracking is really good. It helps us understand who's replying to us, how many people it went out to, who received the email, how many people opened the email. Some of the more advanced features are only activated with a paid subscription. Let's look at some of the options that are selected by default. Track opens. Discover who opens your campaign by tracking the number of times an invisible web beacon embedded in the campaign is downloaded. So each time they open the email or download an image, when that image is downloaded, it's going to kick back a signal to MailChimp and say that email was opened. That way you can track how effective your campaign was, whether or not people did or didn't open. If you find a session member is not opening, you can contact them and say, why haven't you been opening our emails? This is very important data that you should be reading about. Track clicks. Required on free accounts. Discover which campaign links were clicked, how many times they were clicked, and who did the clicking. Track plain text clicks. Required for free accounts. Track opens and clicks in plain text version of your email by replacing all the links while tracking URLs. These are really helpful tools when you're embedding a link to a part of your website. Let's suppose, for instance, you were creating a campaign for VBS Bible School for the summer camp. Well, you could create a variety of links to different pages of the VBS on the VBS website and track who was clicking through to read more information. That would give you a better understanding of which pages are the most important to your clients. We can embed Google Analytics tracking and track it through Webmaster's Tools, and a number of other tracking possibilities. If we were using Salesforce, which we're not, for the time being, we'll select these three and we'll leave the others. We can also embed this into our Facebook and Twitter feeds. Why is that important? Now more than ever, young men and women across the web are using Facebook and Twitter as their primary modes of communicating with their friends. Twitter is nothing more than a large group text. If you've ever texted your mother or your father or even your daughter or your son, you probably find it highly convenient to send small bits of information to them so that they can send back. What time will you be home, sweetheart? 5 p.m. Well, that's what Twitter is, only on a much, much larger scale. Anyone can follow you, anyone can read what you are tweeting, or what you are basically texting across the web. It's an open text forum where you can share your ideas and thoughts. And sometimes a campaign you may be interested in connecting a campaign to a Twitter feed of the church, or to the church's Facebook feed if there's an important announcement. That way the children will receive the information and help to keep their parents informed. This is especially important if the event or the campaign relates to the youth of the church. Getting the youth connected to our church Twitter feeds and getting them and connecting our campaigns to those Twitter feeds is an important part of the communications process of getting information out there. We'll do more on these later. More options. Auto convert video. Turn this on and we'll attempt to scan your content for embedded videos, which don't always render properly in email apps. Then auto convert them to use our email-friendly video merge tag instead. That's really great. If we want to embed an iframe of a Facebook video or a part of our sermons, we would click this to turn this on. And of course, there's the Authenticate campaign. Authenticate is sort of like a license plate for your email, provides a trackable identifier which indicates you're probably legit. Very important to do. MailChimp has done the hard work of connecting with major server providers across the web and making sure that when their authentication codes are used, that your email gets to the mailboxes that they're supposed to get to. Now that we've gone over all of the campaign info and how to personalize it with our merge tags here to avoid spam, we talked about tracking features that are important for communications and marketing, simply because we want to be able to find out who's opening and who's clicking the links in our emails, integrating social network to connect the youth of the church, authenticating a campaign to make sure it doesn't get dumped into a junk file, and auto-converting videos that we may want to send along with our campaigns in the future. We're going to click Next. The next line of options have to do with our templates. Now, a template is nothing more than a set of possibilities. It's like a frame of a house. You have to fill the frame. Do we want a house that has a single column? That is a header or a title, text, which you can see with these little lines. And here's what that's going to look like. If we click on this, we'll get a preview. You can see we have an image placeholder on top. We have our header, image placeholder, information in the center, which is going to be our primary information, a link of some sort that refers back to our website, and our footer, which will be information that basically tells them they can unsubscribe. Here we see a nice elegant mobile view of what that will look like and a tablet view of what that will look like. If we're happy with this particular design template, we can close out of the template view and select the single column view. Once we've selected that, we'll have a variety of options for building our newsletter. Notice as I hover over different sections of the newsletter, I receive a small black bar with some editing options. We have a trash can, which means I can delete that section. I can duplicate that section if I'd like. I'll delete that duplicate, or I can edit that section. When I click Edit, you'll notice that a small window opens on the right-hand side. As we click Edit for different sections, different elements of the newsletter become available for editing on the right-hand side. Why have they done that? The important here of clicking the Edit button is that we can see the content that's going in here into the newsletter as we create it. What you see is what you get. This is a newsletter coming from Westminster regarding a session update for June 2014. We'll keep that really simple. Then we'll come and edit the image. Let's browse for an image just quickly. When we click the browse, we can import from a URL, or we can browse our local computer. We can also simply drag and drop files from our desktop onto this icon. But right now, we'll browse our computer. You'll notice it'll open up a window. I can go to Images. I can select from a wide variety of images. And I can upload that image directly in. Once I've uploaded that image, you'll notice that it's there. I can select, I'd like that image to go edge to edge. I'd like it to be aligned in the center. I may want to edit this image. Now, in this particular case, this image is upside down. If I click the edit link right next to the image, you'll notice a photo editor appears. I can switch the orientation of the image. I can rotate it. I can focus the image by adding a focal point. I can heighten the contrast, which is the black and white. I might decide to crop it or place a frame. And there are a variety of effects that we can do directly in MailChimp itself to touch up the image if there should be a problem. We can create a high def image. We can illuminate and brighten it, or even do a color fix. You can go ahead and play around with all these. We can add text to the image. Splash a color, sharpen, which means we can sharpen the grain. Notice how sharpening works. It increases the pixelation. We'll cancel that. We can whiten different parts. If we wanted to and change the brush size, we'll cancel that. Clean up blemishes, remove red eye. We could even draw on the image. So a wide variety of tools that allow you to mock up and do things to the image. You can go ahead and play with these tools just like it's Microsoft Paint. We'll apply those and save that image, and we'll see our new image will populate. Now, once we have the header completed, we've attached our image. Now we can edit the meeting notes. We can decide here what to say. Session June 2014. A fabulous meeting with great food. And maybe here you want to talk about how fish and loaves was essential to blessing the session with a meal, and share some of the secretary notes below. You could even create a link to a document. Let's see what that would look like. If I wanted to create a link to a document here, I would select link, and I would choose a web URL. Now, if you don't know this already, these are web URLs. If I wanted to link to a specific page of the website, what I would have to do is go to the website and click Go. Once there, I would locate where I wanted to be. I would select the URL by holding down left click at the end and selecting the entire URL. I will right click with my middle finger on the right mouse button, select copy. I would then come back to my campaign and I would right click again and paste that full URL into there. I would click insert. You'll notice the text changes color, indicating that that has become a link. Let's save and close that information. Now there's a whole host of other things we can add. Let's suppose we wanted to add some sharing icons. We could select and click put those right there. Now once we have linked our Facebook, Twitter, and Google feeds here, these buttons will automatically be connected. Let's edit these, the style here. We're going to edit the style. Now we can align them in the center. We can change the line height if we wanted to. We'll keep it normal. We can change the font. Notice how the font gets bigger. Wow, that's too big. Let's come down. We can also change the color of the font. We can change the border, the color of the border. We can change the button color to draw attention to our share links, and the full background color of that area. So those are all we can. So under the style button, we have, and we can do this for any of these. If I click on style, all of a sudden I have type. That is the physical border. It says text color is going to be red. That will probably not change our text color to red. We can choose the font family for the box. Save and apply. We can add a group of images. We can add a full footer, which is at the bottom, which they have already given us there. We'll delete that. An image with a caption. We can have an image here with information here. This is what we call the box model. You can see we have boxes of content and information, each of which can be edited. At any given time, we can come over here, save and close. We can design the page, pre-header, get feedback from comments, start by sending test emails, add a comment to the email, and we have a variety of different clickable drag and drop options that we can move into our newsletter. Once we're satisfied with the way it looks and we've done all of the editing, we can select the next button. Now we're ready to send. Everything checks out. But I noticed something. I know that I'm going to send the same email to session every month. So I want to make sure that I save this as a template. How can I do that? Well, we'll have to do that at the design view right here. But we've already gone too far. How do we go back? Well, we can just simply select design. It will take us back to the design view where we can see our changes. And we can go up here in the upper right hand corner and save as template. That way, the next time we would like to send a newsletter to session, we only need to load our saved template, come in, edit our image, edit our text, and all of our other content will remain the same. So that completes the tutorial on how to create a campaign with all of its many attendant features. We're ready to send, or we can schedule it. So either you can schedule it for a specific date and time, choose a date and time when you'd like to deliver it, or you can send it immediately. We're going to save and exit to the dashboard because we're not going to send it right now. And there you have it, creating a campaign. Thanks for listening.